Good morning. Let's jump into our third day of conjunctions. Today we're going to look at a different type of conjunction, but first let's review. Remember, a conjunction is a word that connects, okay? Conjunctions connect. See how those sound similar? They connect words or groups of words in a sentence, and that's what we use conjunctions for. Subordinating conjunctions are what we're going to talk about today. The last couple of days we've been talking about coordinating conjunctions. That's those easy ones to find, our fanboys. Subordinating are a little bit more difficult, but you guys are going to totally rock it, okay? Before we jump in, you guys need to know the difference between an independent clause and a dependent clause. An independent clause is just a group of words that express a complete or whole thought. So if I walk up to you and I say, I enjoy sitting by the fireplace, it makes sense. It'd be a little weird for me to randomly say that, right? But it makes sense. You understand what I'm saying. The car waited for the light to turn. Again, that's a complete thought. Okay, so is the girl ate a popsicle? I have so much homework. Those are all complete thoughts, so they're independent clauses. Sometimes we compare independent clauses to trees because trees can stand on their own. They don't need anything holding it up or anything. Trees can stand on their own, so that's what an independent clause is. Stands on its own. On the other side, we have dependent clauses. These are going to be words or groups of words that express an incomplete thought. So when I walk up to you and I say, when the president arrives, well, when the president arrives, what? Okay, or if you can work on Sundays, okay, if you can work on Sundays, what? Right? Add. These are incomplete because I can't wait for the bus. Because I can't wait for the bus. What? You have to give me more information. While flowers continue to bloom, well, what's happening? Okay, that is a dependent clause. Sometimes we refer to dependent clauses as ladders because ladders need something to lean on, like a tree. Okay. So since the ladder needs something to lean on, it is dependent on the tree. We need a complete thought for it to go on. So we are going to pair these independent and dependent clauses using a subordinating conjunction. Okay. Sometimes when those independent clauses and dependent clauses are related, we use that subordinating conjunction to combine them. I'm going to show you what I mean. These are the subordinating conjunctions that we're going to work with. They are not the only subordinating conjunctions, but they're the ones that we are going to. You can call them woobies, okay, if you want. Or I'll just give you a list. So the ones that we're going to use are after, although, as, when, while, until, because, before, if, and since. Okay? All right. Just to go over some of these, after, that just, kind of shows us the time it follows something. So after we eat, we will go watch a movie. Although is going to be in replace of even though, okay? So I washed the clothes, although I forgot to put them in the dryer, okay? As would be a comparison. When, it's going to be at that time. While, it's going to be during the same time, okay? Until, to the time when, okay? So it kind of gives us a cutoff. Because, so that's going to give us a reason. Before, it's going to tell us if something happened earlier. If, okay, so that's going to say, if this happens, this happens. So things that depend, one thing has to happen for the next thing to happen. Since, okay, that's going to give us a reason during a period following something, okay? Again, guys, these are all words that you've used before, okay? But please just know that the first word of the dependent, so that one that isn't complete, is the subordinating conjunction. So when the president arrives, if you can work on Sundays. So when, that's our subordinating conjunction. If, subordinating conjunction. Because, subordinating conjunction. While, subordinating conjunction. So let's just practice, okay? We are practicing every afternoon because our marching band is playing in the Rose City Parade. All right, so I just want to show you guys this. It's easiest to look for, so you have your independent clause, so you want a complete thought, which would be, we are practicing every afternoon. That's a complete thought. Now, if I walk up to you and say, because our marching band is playing in the Rose City Parade, that's a dependent clause. It doesn't quite make sense. And we know that the first word, because, is then going to be our conjunction, right? And look, it's on our list. Hold on one second. So see, because is our conjunction. All right, now we have, although we are all learning to march, we all can play our instruments well. We all can play our instruments well is an independent clause. It can stand by itself. We know that this is our dependent clause. Although we are learning to march, okay? Okay, although we are learning to march what? So Our conjunction must be although. Okay. Next, we have the woodwind section marched and played while everyone clapped and whistled. Okay. Our complete thought would be the woodwind section marched and played. That makes sense, okay? While everyone clapped and whistled, sorry. While is going to be our conjunction, okay? It starts off that dependent clause. As the whole band began to play, the crowd went crazy. So I want you to think, what is the independent and what is the dependent? You look at that list, what's our conjunction? What do we see? It's our very first word, as. All right, we are going to jump on your show it now, okay? So please bear with me. Let me log in. All right, so I'm going to just click on first period because that is my easiest one. I know I have second and sixth period on here as well, but just click on your class or your to-do list. Scroll down to that week 4 Thursday folder, and you're going to open up that subordinating conjunctions sentences, show it. All right. A subordinating conjunction is typically the blank in the dependent clause of the complex sentence. Didn't we say it was the first word? Yes, we did. Subordinating conjunctions create blank clauses and they cannot stand alone. Cannot stand alone. Which one cannot stand alone? Dependent. If a sentence begins with a subordinating conjunction, you must have a comma after the clause, okay? This is going to be true, okay? So if our sentence begins with a subordinating conjunction, you must have a comma after the clause. When a subordinating conjunction is in the middle of a sentence, put a comma first. That one's false, okay? You don't have to do that. Choose the correct subordinating conjunction for this sentence. The clerk made the new keys while we waited, or the clerk made the new keys if we waited? While, for sure. Identify the subordinating conjunction here. Before we get started, let's introduce ourselves. So I want you to think, okay? Let's introduce ourselves. That is an independent clause. So this must be my dependent clause, first word before. Got it. All right, I'm going to have you guys do 7 through 10 on your own, okay? If you need to use our notes from earlier, please feel free to do that. If you have any questions, please let me know. Also, don't forget you have a spelling test tomorrow, so study, study, study.